Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video on my channel, and today I have a career re-simulation for you guys, and it is about the man whose name you see on the screen and the man who is of course in the thumbnail, and that is Lyman Bostock. Now this is probably one of the most interesting MLB players in history, and when I get into the story you guys will definitely agree. Now Lyman Bostock was a young outfielder in the MLB and was pretty much regarded as one of the best young outfielders in the game, and I'll show you some of his stats here. He hit for great average, really not really much power, as you know, was also showcased by his ratings here, but again was regarded as one of the best outfielders in the major leagues at that point. And he also was one of the players who were really at the forefront of free agency. He was one of the first real big free agents out there, and he signed a big contract with the California Angels for the 1978 season, and a few years past that as well. I don't exactly know the contract, and in OOTP the game actually doesn't have actual contracts, which is really the only inaccurate thing about the historical sims that they have, which kind of sucks. But again, you know, everything can't be perfect. This is really the only thing that is kind of off. But again, he signed a very large free agent contract with the Angels, and actually he in real life in 1978, and we'll show his real life status here. In real life in 1978, he got off to a very slow start. He only hit 147 through the first month of the season, and he actually refused to accept the pay for his contract over that time period, and demanded that that he didn't get paid and tried to give it back to the organization. They actually refused, and then he ended up donating the money to charity anyway. So kind of a weird situation there. You know, it's not that doesn't really happen, that a player refuses to get paid based on poor performance. But I guess he really felt that he didn't earn the money, and didn't want to be paid unless he was playing like he did earn the money. However, through the season his numbers actually did progress quite a bit, got back up to kind of the neighborhood where his numbers usually were, almost at 300. Didn't have for as much power, but still of course had a pretty good season. But of course, as you see, his career here was very short, and that is because he was actually killed on September 24th, 1978. So he did not even get to really finish out this very promising career, what was a very promising career. Now the details of the of his death are kind of actually really interesting. So he, as the story goes, he was visiting kind of an old friend after a road game in Chicago, I believe, and went to their house and kind of visiting with an old friend that he hadn't seen for a while. And then basically a relative of that friend was at the house and needed a ride somewhere else. So Bostock and someone else who was in the car with him, his uncle I believe, offered to give them a ride around town. However, the friend of Bostock's friend actually was living there and was kind of in a estranged relationship. Apparently she was cheated on her husband a bunch of times, and so that relationship was kind of contentious, and unbeknownst to pretty much everyone there, they were being followed by the estranged husband of the friend of Bostock's friend, and so he followed them and didn't know Bostock personally at all, and just assumed that this was just another guy that his estranged wife was kind of involved with, and he ended up eventually killing Bostock, and in the car pulling up and shooting him in the temple, which ended up killing him, which was huge news of course at the time, because he was one of the most popular players in the league, one of the most highest paid players in the league. So a really crazy story. And even crazier, I believe, that the husband who ended up killing Bostock, I believe he when of course the case was taken to court because he killed Bostock, he claimed insanity, and he actually won the case, and he actually only served, I think it was about 6 months in prison, 7 months, but he served under a year in prison for the crime, then was released kind of back into the world, and actually did not commit a single crime after that. So I mean, that's kind of weirdness there, even adds another kind of interesting layer. But again, just super weird circumstances, and really just one of a budding star who really came on kind of late, as you can see. He was 25 by the time that he came into the big leagues. But yeah, I mean, he was a great player, and you see here 5-win season, 3.5, almost 3 right there, with a really rough start to the year. So I mean, he was a really good player that was kind of just coming into his own, and he didn't even get to finish out the 1978 season, as he missed the few last games of the season, because he was killed, which is just crazy. Now, this being a career re-simulation, of course, we are going to start at that 1978 season, so we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning. We're just going to kind of pick up here at the beginning of the season that he wasn't able to finish because he, of course, passed away. But we're going to be kind of continuing from that point. So after that, we're really going to be in uncharted territory pretty much immediately, since there's really no real life thing to go off of. Now, Bostock, of course, going over kind of what player he was. As I mentioned, he was, high contact guy, didn't hit for much power, never struck out, always, pretty much bat on ball kind of guy. And he was also a great defender in the outfield, too. As you can see, 80 outfield air rating, which is very, very good, and can pretty much, play any outfield position, but that is pretty standard. But again, here, of course, 55 potential overall player. One of the better players in the league, of course, as always. Just kind of some background on this. We're using Out of the Park Baseball 21, which is a text-based simulation game here to do it, and we're all of the kind of scouting grades here are based on the 20-80 scale that real scouts use in the major leagues. And also, the very last thing that I quickly want to go over before we get into the re-simulation real quick is just a reminder to like, subscribe, let me know if you're enjoying the content on the channel. Definitely let me know what other career re-simulations you want to see. This one right here was actually, a request and a comment on the last re-sim. So definitely, let your thoughts be heard, because I definitely will be doing the career simulations that really people want to see. So definitely do not be shy to go ahead and let me know what you think or who you want to see next. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. At the end of the first season of the Bostock re-simulation, he actually had a pretty good season, especially compared to the previous in his career. He hit over 300, 370 OVP. Not hitting for as much power as he did in those seasons, but still very good WRC plus, and still was a plus player. Didn't make an all-star team on this, but still was very good. He was better than his real life comparison, where he only had a WAR of 2.9. Of course, WRC plus much lower. Still didn't hit for power, but he hit for more power in the simulation. His OPS was higher, of course. Pretty much every batting statistic he had was higher. And now for his actual ratings, they actually went up a bit. His hitting ratings went down slightly, but all of his fielding ratings went up. So that is all good to see. And then his team actually made the playoffs and lost in the World Series to the Reds, of course. In this period of time, only division winners made the postseason in Major League Baseball. So, in real life, the Angels in the 1978 season finished behind the Royals in the playoffs and did not represent the American League West in the playoffs. So, and of course, Bostock missed the end of that season. And who's to say that they could have made it without him? I don't think it was actually possible for them to make it. I think they were 5 games back at the end of the season. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure, what could have happened there. But again, still a great season. Important thing that I want to jump in and mention very quickly is that Lyman Bostock ended up re-signing with the Angels through 1982 for pretty much, at this point, salaries were not what they are today in Major League Baseball. So, you can see the salary there. In real life, the contract that he signed was a 6-year contract, so this is only a 5-year contract. Well, it will be a 5-year contract, including, of course, the 1978 season itself. So, the contract with the Angels is pretty similar to what's in real life, so that's good. That'll kind of remain that kind of accuracy, so then we can go kind of, forward after that with pretty much anything else that would happen. But the Angels, his career at the Angels is kind of lining up how it was supposed to, at least. So that is an interesting thing I thought I should hop in and mention. So here we are at the end of the 1982 MLB season, and so that's going to do it for the end of his contract. So of course it ends up working out to be 5 years as opposed to the 6, which is the real life number and that he signed for. Now this was actually pretty eventful few years. The Angels actually were in the World Series every year. At least I believe every year of this save. Of course in 1978 we made it and lost. At least I think I showed that. But then we ended up winning in 1979 and 80. And I actually don't think we made it in 81. But then we did make it in 82 and lost. Yeah, and I actually do remember now. We missed the playoffs in 81, but then we're back in 82 and lost the World Series to the Mets. So yeah, he is now a 2-time World Series champion and was actually the World Series MVP in 1979, which is pretty crazy. Now, of course, looking at the numbers, his seasons have gone down in productivity pretty much every season, from that good 1978 and then not as good 79 and then 80, and then now kind of around replacement level guy at this point, which is pretty unfortunate to see that he's kind of declining a little bit. Of course, there are no real life stats to compare this to, since he died in 78 in real life, so he didn't have the chance to better upon that. And then also they've been in the postseason pretty much like every year. And he's been good in the postseason. I mean, in 79 when they won the World Series for the first time, he was fantastic for them. WRC plus of 227. I mean, he was dynamite. He, has been one of the better hitters, at least for the first part of it. He was one of the better hitters on this Angels team in general. And then now, of course, the back half, kind of more supporting role guy, but definitely still a very, very good player to have. He's still. His ratings wise, he doesn't have that power. Contact rating down a little bit. Still, he's a very good right fielder to have defensively. I mean, he does not make mistakes in the field. Doesn't have the most range, doesn't have the strongest arm, but still really doesn't make that many mistakes with that 80 grade air rating. So then I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward to later in the offseason where we see what kind of his next move is. It might be kind of more 1 year deals now that he's kind of. His productivity is down, and he's more of like a veteran support guy. It might be shorter term deals, but we'll see what ends up happening. Now we are in the year 1986, and we are now witnessing the retirement of Lyman Bostock. Really after that career at the Angels after 1982 season. He really didn't get another shot at the major leagues. I mean, he performed very well in 83 and 84 in AAA as part of the Royals organization. Got a little bit of time with the Royals in 84, only 21 at-bats. Was pretty good in those at-bats. I mean, 333, didn't walk at all. Of course, extremely small sample size, but still, he was pretty good. And then even in 85 and 86, he was very good in the Indians AAA affiliate team there, and he just didn't get another shot. It's kind of disappointing that he didn't get another shot. His ratings did go down to about like 40 overall in the 20 to 80 scale. So he was kind of he was on the decline, but it's still disappointing that he didn't get that other opportunity. I do think he probably could have he definitely wasn't that guy he was in like 78 and 77, but he definitely could have been I think turned in more performances like his 81 season, maybe the 1980 season, maybe could have had a few more of those years, because he did come in the year in the league fairly late as it was. He really didn't get many opportunities until his age 24 season in 75. So, he was kind of a late bloomer as it was, and didn't have that longer prime. So, it kind of sucks to see that he didn't have, maybe as long and as fruitful as a career as, maybe we would have wanted him to have, of course. But, he did end up getting 2 rings and was the World Series MVP when they won the ring in 79. So, it's not like he wasn't a big player or a big part of those championships. He was very, very pivotal to that 79 ring in particular, and of course was the World Series MVP. So, he was obviously the best player in the entire series. So, he was doing a lot of stuff for the Angels there. And then a quick, of course, look back at his real-life stats, those 4 seasons, really less than 4 seasons that he had in the major leagues before his career was cut short, of course, by that tragic death. And so that is going to do it for the Bostock career sim. Ended up being a little shorter than I thought it was going to be. His career was going to be a little bit longer, but that did not end up being the case. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and definitely comment down below, who the next guy you want to see me re-simulate is. As you know, Bostock was a request, and then I'm definitely open to seeing other requests I think would be cool to do. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.